Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Hey, welcome back to the I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name is Chris Hollifield. I'm going to be quick. I actually am in the process of getting settled into a brand new apartment. Boxes still need to be unpacked. I still need to get my stuff situated. So I'm going to be really quick with this introduction. Andy Gold joins me on this episode of the podcast. He joined me back in episode 86. So it's been a while. This is episode 159. I thought it was time to do some catching up, find out what he's up to, find out about the podcast he's doing, some shows. He's living here in Salt Lake again. For those of you that did not know, he moved out to New York. He's been back for a while, and I just wanted to do some catching up. So he's going to join me here in just a second. The conversation with Andy Gold was actually recorded at American Musicians Radio Studio. So many thanks goes out to John Farmer, AMR. Go to their website, amr.fm. Give them some support. Check out Andy's podcast. Follow him on Facebook and Twitter. Let him know you heard him on the I Am Salt Lake podcast. Let's jump into that conversation that I had with him at the American Musicians Radio Studio in Salt Lake City, Utah. When you were on the podcast before, you were living actually in Brooklyn.
Yes.
And that was where you went out there to make your way as a comedian, live it big.
Such a mistake.
Live big. Why was it a mistake? What happened?
I went out there with nothing going on.
Okay.
I didn't know anybody. I didn't have my foot
But
in
you
the door
knew
with
somebody
any
that you
clubs.
moved in with, though, right?
But he didn't know anybody either. We were both nobodies.
Yeah.
And nobodies can't. I mean, I was just going to crappy open mics a few times a week in front of just comics and getting on real shows late nights in the shittiest clubs in New York, like where they have people bark is what it's called at Taurus and Times Square to come see a comedy show. So I just had nothing going on there. And after a while, I was like, the only reason to stay in New York is just so I can say I'm in New York. It was better for me to come back here. I get better stage time here in front of real audiences in a real club. And I make more connections here. I meet more people. When a comic comes through town here, I get to be like a peer. Whereas in New York, I was some weirdo who was trying to hang out with them.
But do you think maybe that's because you didn't give New York a try? Do you think that eventually could have happened?
I gave it an 8-month try.
Okay.
You know, and the cost of living didn't help either. $2,000 a month studio apartment.
No, I remember that.
Yeah.
In the episode you were on, you were comparing to my little shithole apartment, how much I would have been paying for that in New York.
That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Your studio would have been $2,000 a month in my part of Brooklyn. I don't know how much it would have been in Manhattan. So it was outrageous, expensive. The city itself, it was interesting, it was exciting, but it was a dump. And I got discouraged. Like, I couldn't live in New York for very long. I got so frustrated, man. Like, every single day for the last month, I was just like, all I want to do is make it the day without having to encounter a lunatic. Just give me a day. I'm serious.
Like the real lunatic,
yes,
psychotic
where I can walk down.
addicts.
Yes, where I can walk down the street and not have a crazy fucker yell at me. And it never happened. And I remember one day I was just so depressed about how comedy was going, how I was broke, about how the city just made me feel like an anonymous worm that doesn't. And I'm just on my phone, just like on Facebook or whatever. And some crazy homeless guy goes, "If you bump into me with that phone, you're gonna get knocked the fuck out." Because I wasn't paying it. And I was like, enough. I didn't even have it in me to get angry back at him. I was like, yeah, I get it. You're crazy. You yell stuff at people. I'm over it.
So basically you gave up. You were just
totally.
Like,
well,
I not gave up as like a comedian, but you were like, I surrender.
Yeah, I surrendered.
That's why you came back.
I quit New York. It was a failure. And I have no problem using that word.
But there's no problem with admitting it.
No.
You try.
I have respect for the word failure. You'll learn from it. There's something to be gained from it. Also, it was the smartest thing I ever did coming back here.
Well, Salt Lake
the comedy has grown.
Wonderful. Yeah.
I feel like my comedy's going better than it ever has. The world's a lot smaller than it used to be. You don't necessarily have to go to New York or LA right away like you did back in the day. You can make things happen from your market. And right now I'm just kind of like, I want to make as much happen from Salt Lake as I can, which is more than people might think. You can make things happen from Salt Lake.
Absolutely. Well, you can fly out of here. I mean, if you have to fly, take the
Oh,
bus.
you son of a bitch.
What?
You know what I was talking about. Your podcast is called I Am Salt Lake. Don't disparage the namesake of your podcast, sir.
I'm not.
Yes, you
I'm just
are.
saying, if you want to make it as a comedian, you're going to have to travel.
Oh, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I thought you were doing that old joke of like, there's a lot of things to do in Salt Lake. You can fly to Las Vegas. You can fly that whole thing.
No, I wasn't trying to. I was trying to say, like, because I realized that there's not enough stage. You know, you want to get in front of new
That's the only.
faces.
That's the only thing. I'd like to get on stage more here in
All
Salt
over,
Lake.
though.
All over.
California, Texas.
I went to LA and spent a month there this summer, and I have way more going on in LA than in New York, but I'm still not ready to move there.
Yeah.
I was able to get on real shows. The cost of living is expensive, but nothing like New York. But I'm still just like, nah, I'm just really going to go when I feel like the time is right. I'm in no hurry to move.
And you're
just
right.
yet.
Salt Lake, I mean, just to even save my own ass here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful place. I love Salt Lake. You know that.
Yeah, you were shitting all over Salt Lake there for a second, dude.
I wasn't. Yeah. No. I love this city. But I also know that when you're in a position like you are, same thing with music, comedy, whatever, you have to get out of Salt Lake.
I feel like eventually I'll have to go again.
But this is a very centralized location, in my opinion, that you can get to a lot of places quickly.
It is. It's not far from LA. When you have your foot in the door at Wise Guys, you can meet and befriend a lot of the comics who come through.
Do you think they remember you, any of the comics?
Some of them do. Not all of them.
Who
Some
the
of them
fuck is
do.
Andy Gold?
Some of them really do, and a lot of them pretend to.
Yeah.
And then some of them don't pretend to at all. And I don't blame them. A lot of these guys play 100 clubs a year or something. Not 100 clubs a year, but a club every weekend. And they meet local comics at every place they go. And I don't expect everybody to remember me. But I know more guys in LA than in New York. And some of the comics I met are the guys who helped me get on shows and get stage time and stuff like that. And I feel like the time to go to LA, because that's what I'm thinking now. LA more than New York. Because I like the city better, I like the climate better. It's closer to home. It's not so miserable, but I'll go when I'm confident I can get on a few real shows every single week. When I feel like I can do that, then I'll think about going. But
fair enough.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'm staying here in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
Well, one of the reasons, I mean, obviously I like your comedy.
Thank you.
And I like, I'm a big fan of what you do.
It's good. My comedy.
Your comedy is wonderful.
Thank you. I agree, and I think it's good.
You're doing a podcast now, though.
Oh,
That's
dude.
what I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to bring up, and I wanted to give you a chance to share with the I Am Salt Lake podcast listeners to check your podcast out. I love it. It's like I was telling you before. I mean, you're only 2 episodes deep at the time of this recording. This should probably be up when you have episode 3 up, maybe going on episode. I'm not sure how often are you doing your podcast?
Once a week.
Okay.
This week, we're not doing anything tomorrow because the producer's out doing some stupid thing. So I'm doing one on Monday, then another one the following Sunday.
Okay.
So episode 3 and 4 will be probably a few days apart.
How did that start? Let's share that story.
I was on this University of Utah radio show.
KU
regularly.
Radio?
KU Radio,
Yeah.
OU Radio. something
OU
like that.
Radio,
I was a
yeah.
guest on that a whole bunch of times. And the guy who produced it took a liking to me. And he broke off from the student radio thing and got a hold of these people at Clear Channel Studios or something that have all of these vacant studios. I'm not sure the logistics of it, but he contacted me. He had a studio for me and asked me to do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, because I've wanted to do one for a while, and I've actually attempted to do a few with some friends, but they've always crashed and burned because, as you know, there's so much logistical horse shit behind it that I don't
Doing
have
podcasts.
There's too much for me.
Too much for you.
I was
Fair
watching you and your producer guy figure out the microphones and the switches and the computer. I would have given up immediately. I mean, I would give it up immediately. I would have thrown my hands up in the air. Fuck it. Podcast. But this guy takes care of all of that. He takes care of he set up a Twitter, a Facebook, an Instagram, I guess. Got it on iTunes and everything. He's taking care of all of the footwork. All I have to do is show up and give content. And even then, I don't know what I'm doing.
And I mean, that was too good of an offer to pass up.
It was too good of an offer. I have nothing to lose. It's not costing me anything. It's like complete overkill for podcast equipment. It's like radio stuff. It's like $5,000 mics and switchboards and all kinds of buttons and doohickeys. I don't know what's going on. It's amazing. And that's just all there for me to use for nothing. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell? And The name Big Wet Podcast is what it's called.
I love it. I love it.
I came up with that because I couldn't think of anything else, and I just texted it to him. And he's like, all right, fine. And I wasn't sure if I wanted that as a name, but I think we're kind of at the point.
Well, I remember in
now.
episode 1 you were talking about, should we keep the name?
I think we're going to.
Oh my gosh, you have to. You got to come out with t-shirts.
Yeah.
I'm wet for Andy Gold.
Oh, I like it. Thank you very much.
Yes,
That's going to be the thing. I'm having so much fun with it. I didn't know if I'd have fun with it, but I've kind of accepted that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not very prepared. I go in there with like a very vague outline of what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And sort of start talking about it and spitballing, and then I forget, and then I start screaming in a panic until I remember what it is I want to talk about, and then go back to it, and I just continue on for a half hour, just screaming into this blind oblivion, and scream at my producer, and that's the podcast. It's me panicking. Well,
and hopefully eventually you'll be able to take live callers. You were even talking.
We are going to. It's going to be great. I'm going to get into so many fights.
I'm going to call you up.
That's my plan. I'm going to be mean to you if you're on the phone. Every caller is my enemy, is the attitude I'm going to have whenever the phone rings. What does this guy want to start shit about? I don't accept calls from fans. Just enemies.
Well, then I better not call up. Oh. No, I'm excited to see where your podcast goes. And I don't know if I told you this, but I've had a lot of comedians on the I Am Salt Lake podcast, and I've told them, you guys need to have podcasts. I mean, look at the big podcasts out there. They're all by comedians.
Yeah.
It helps promote their stuff, their tours, their shows, their books, their CDs, their videos, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I think it could be good for your career.
No, I think it could too. There's just so many of them out there, so I want to put out something that's good and that I have fun doing.
But you will learn. You will learn.
Yes.
You'll see, okay, this was episode 1. When you get to episode 100, it'll be fun to look back at that and say, oh my gosh, I progressed.
Exactly. And the weird thing is, some of the criticism I had of myself is where people were telling me, I thought I was a little bit too abrasive and frantic, because I'm kind of not being my real self on there. It's a bit of a character, sort of this like megalomaniac kind of asshole, which is part of who I am. I'm not going to lie. That's like a real part of who I am. But that's all of who I am on the podcast. And I'm just trying to have as much fun with it as I can. Yeah. And if that becomes like a thing that people listen to, then yeah, I couldn't be happier.
So search for Big Wet Podcast on iTunes.
Yes.
Or I'm assuming pretty much however you listen to podcasts.
I don't know.
I would imagine.
That's the other stuff my producer takes care of.
So, I mean, would you say, if he takes care of all the hard stuff, would you say that any part of what you do is hard?
No.
Would you say that there's anything hard or anything that you've learned or anything?
What have I learned? I've learned that podcasts are fun. I've learned that I'm awesome at it. And what else have I learned? I've learned the time goes by pretty fast. I mean, episode 2, I think I'm still definitely learning, but I'm trying to, this is going to sound weird. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of trying to be as lazy about it as I can and just go in there with an outline of what I talk about and keep it fun. Keep it as fun as I can, keep it as loose as I can. And because I feel like that's where I'm at my best. Maybe not necessarily stand-up wise, but in conversational wise. Is conversational? Yeah, conversational is a word.
It's a word, Andy.
Okay, thank you. Just to keep it riffing loose, and if we go off script and off the trail a little bit, that's fine, if it's good stuff. And just to kind of have as much of a party kind of a feel as I can with the podcast.
What's been the public response like?
Good.
I mean, besides me.
No. The feedback has been good. I think the girl I'm dating doesn't like it too much.
Really?
She said I'm too much of an asshole.
Yeah, you do come across that way, but I could read through it. I know who you are.
But that's what she said. People who don't know who I am are just going to be like, this guy's a bastard. But I think I'm okay with that as long as they're entertained. I don't have to be beloved. I don't want to be beloved, really. I want to be like Muhammad Ali. I want to be the Muhammad Ali of comedy. I want to hit the stage and have everybody booing me because they want to see me bomb, but then they start laughing because they can't deny how awesome I am. I want to be the first comedian ever to have that approach. Everyone's there to watch me bomb and they hate me, but then by the end they're like, we can't deny it. He's amazing.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, that was, I mean, I wanted to bring you on and talk about the podcast. I mean, obviously an episode when you were on before, I found out a lot of your history, found out a little bit about, comedy and whatnot.
We talked about the heroin.
The heroin. How is that going for you? You staying off the heroin?
I am. I haven't relapsed yet, dude. I think about it still sometimes.
Yeah.
But
you do really think about it.
Oh yeah, I will for the rest of my life, dude.
Like you wake up and you're like,
not necessarily every day, and cravings are a lot less frequent than they used to be. But no, not a recovered addict, a recovering addict.
Yeah.
My midbrain is addicted to heroin.
I see. I've never done heroin.
Yeah,
so.
that's a fact. Like, it's my midbrain thinks it needs heroin like it thinks it needs food and shelter and sex. That's what the midbrain's in charge of. After a while, you get a handle on it, and the cravings become. But yeah, I'm addicted to heroin. Here talking to you, 5.5 years clean, but I'm addicted.
So right now you're thinking about it.
Not right now. I'm not actively thinking about it. I'm thinking about giving Chris Holyfield good content, knocking it out of the park for the I Am Salt Lake podcast, breathing some life into the podcast. Okay, we know it's going to be dead in the water pretty soon, and I'm here to resurrect. That was a joke, Chris. Get that look off your face. I'm kidding. You know I'm a fan. Okay?
No, fair enough. Now, maybe I asked this before, but were you ever a smoker? Did you ever smoke cigarettes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's what I've always battled with.
Yeah.
Cigarettes, tobacco, nicotine.
Right.
Was that hard for you to quit? Because I've always heard,
I think,
smoking or quitting smoking is harder than heroin.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think it's way easier to get cigarettes, and I was never super, super addicted to nicotine. So maybe it's wrong for me to say I don't agree. When I was in high school, I dipped a lot.
Yeah.
And I was
You seem like a dipper.
I?
You seem like one of those dudes with a big truck, has a big wad.
Oh, do I really? I'm not one of those guys at all. I'm such a gentleman. I'm a thinker. I'm not a big truck driving douche.
I'm messing with you, Andy.
Yeah, man. I'm a gas mileage concerned 21st century progressive male who's in touch with my emotions and such. But I dipped because I played baseball and I was one of the boys.
Yeah.
And it was pretty bad. Like I needed a dip to take a dump.
Yeah.
And had one in more often than I didn't.
And wow. And those are so strong.
Yeah, but it was nothing like... Look, I never had to be hospitalized for nicotine withdrawals. You know what I mean? I never had to be sedated for a week to get myself through it. I never had like unearthly, horrible depression to where I just thought I was just completely worthless and unworthy to even think happy thoughts. I never had the painful, horrible, agonizing toothache withdrawals all through my body, the flu times 10 where I'm dry heaving and not eating and not sleeping. I never got any of that from nicotine withdrawals. So studies
what got you through that though? I mean, honestly.
The heroin withdrawals?
Yeah, like what made you want to not just say, fuck it, I want to go back and just
I did a lot of times.
It, however you did it.
I shot it up.
Yeah.
For years and years and years, man. I had a little bit of time clean, then went back and used. Here's what heroin withdrawal is like. Okay? So, your pain receptors are fucked because it's a painkiller. That's the initial purpose of heroin. So your body's like, well, these pain receptors don't need to work anymore because I'm getting it from this other source, this heroin. So when you go off of it, your pain receptors don't know how to work anymore, and your body is in real pain. Feels like a toothache in your wrists and your elbows and your fingers and your knees and your ankles, everywhere. And then you have the flu times 10. You can't keep anything down. You don't eat, so you're dry heaving. You're sweating. Your stomach's turning. You don't sleep either. So you're awake through all of this. And then, worst of all, your brain doesn't know how to make dopamine anymore because heroin traps dopamine. So you're depressed. And just like
fucking depressed.
Fucking... it's an
like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go
No, it's an artificial
today.
Depression. Just as heroin gives you an artificial euphoria, so too is the depression that accompanies it with the withdrawal. It's such like an all-encompassing depression that's just totally inescapable and consuming to where you're worthless. Everything you see makes you sad and makes you think that you're worthless. That guitar hanging on the wall is like that has more purpose hanging on that wall than I do. It hangs on the wall. People look at it. Whoa, a guitar. Awesome. I don't bring that. And then you start thinking about all the shitty things that you've done as a junkie, the stealing, the lying, the manipulating. You hate yourself. And there's two ways out of it. One way is just to die. You can die. That's a way to stop the withdrawals. That sounds okay. And then the other way is to use. And that gets rid of the dope sickness. You can use, and you'll do anything to get well. Okay, addiction is like a glove. You wouldn't pick up dog shit with your bare hand, but you would with a glove. And addiction makes you do things that you would never do when you're clean. And when I was at my worst, I was okay with being dead soon. That's what I would use. I would use to where I was happy enough with the idea that I'll be dead soon. And when I was going through withdrawals, I'm like, I'm going to be dead soon, and I hate myself, and I hate everything, and everything sucks. So that's what heroin withdrawal is like. So you can see why you use and relapse. But how I got clean the last time, I was at an inpatient treatment facility, and there for 45 days, which helped. And it was 8 hours a day of intense counseling. And I had been to a dozen court-ordered treatment programs. But there was no moment of clarity for me. It was a progression of starting to think, okay, I've been clean for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Maybe it'll be possible to live sober. Because I had gotten so used to the idea of I'm a junkie, I'm going to die soon. I'd really accepted that. Then I was starting to think, okay, maybe I'm going to be a sober person who carries on living. And I just took it kind of one day at a time. Okay, now maybe I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. I've been clean for a few months. What do I like? And started doing comedy at about 6 months clean.
And here you are today.
And here I am on the I Am Salt Lake podcast. I'm an inspiration, a dream come true. They should make a movie that ends right here. My whole journey. I get onto the I Am Salt Lake podcast for the unprecedented second time, and then it just fades to black. And then people walk out like, my God. Yeah, it was awesome.
If he could do it, I could do it.
It was amazing that he got off heroin, but he got on I Am Salt Lake twice. And then, yeah, it's a dream. So,
no, I mean, you definitely are an inspiration. I mean, those days where you just don't even want to get out. I'm talking about even like myself here, where it's like, I think, oh, the world's crashing, the world's ending. This girl won't return my phone calls, or,
right.
That new job won't hire me, or, whatever, I can't pay a bill.
Yes.
Or I got evicted or something like that. Those are nothing probably compared to the struggle that you went through.
And I've had struggles since then, for sure, like legitimate ones, man.
But do you find them easier to get through?
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, this is nothing compared to
Sometimes I feel like the worst is, in fact, I kind of...
Like when people tell you you're a shitty comedian.
Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. Usually I get carried off the stage. You've seen what happens when I'm on stage. It's a miracle.
It's a miracle that you don't get tomatoes thrown at you.
Bombing sucks. I'll be real for a minute. Hey, what? I saw what you did. It's a miracle that I don't get tomatoes thrown at me. Son of a bitch, dude. You sassy shrew. Holyfield, you invite me on to be your guest and you start hurling these insults at me.
I'm messing with you, Andy.
Oh, well, I got feelings, dude. This is way worse than the heroin withdrawal. My great hero, Chris Holyfield, shitting all over my comedy. No, okay, I'll be real for a minute. Bombing, yeah, it sucks. It's like soul crushing. But no, it's nothing like heroin.
Yeah.
Withdrawal. I often feel like the worst is probably over. You know what I mean?
Well, you got your whole future ahead of you.
I got my whole future ahead of me.
You just turned 30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when you were on the show before, you were like 27, I think.
I would have been...
28,
no, I would have been 28, almost 29, because it was in the summer of 2013.
I remember that summer well, Andy.
Do you really? Yeah. Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah, that was a good summer for me, though.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was a beautiful summer.
What was great about it?
We can't get into that on the podcast. I want to ask you some fun questions, though.
Okay.
Whenever I bring somebody on for the second time, we don't want to hear their boring life story as much anymore.
I know.
We don't
I hear you. I'm tired of telling the story.
We already talked about this. I wrote down some questions that are going to be fun to talk about. They're going to be fun to answer, hopefully.
Okay.
Okay. In your opinion, what is the perfect pizza? What's your favorite pizza?
Okay, we were talking about New York earlier. I had a pizza at a place called Lombardi's in Little Italy. Have you been there? The producer's giving me the thumbs up. I got the Italian sausage with basil and good tomato sauce. It wasn't like a crazy conglomerate of weird toppings. It was pretty simple, but holy balls. It was amazing. Producer guy's nodding. Have you been there? Yeah. Sorry, I keep calling him producer guy.
John Farmer.
John Farmer, our great producer, is nodding in agreement. Yeah, John Farmer has been to Lombardi's in Little Italy. Did he eat it with a fork and a knife? Oh, what a dirty bastard. Okay.
What was your first thought when you woke up this morning?
Let's see. That my first thought when I woke up this morning was... I'll say what I think it was. I don't remember what it was, but I probably just thought, oh, you know what it was? I remember what it was. I have to watch Breaking Bad. I just started Breaking Bad. And I kind of woke
Are you
up.
in the first season?
No,
still?
I'm in the third season. I've been kind of binge watching it on Netflix. Don't spoil it for me, son of a bitch. Every time I tell somebody I started watching Breaking Bad, they tell me things that happen. Assholes. Common sense. Don't tell me anything. I know it's a great show. Let's just leave it at that. I can see the look on your face. Like, oh, have you gotten to the point where such and such chops the guy's head off? No, shithead, I haven't, but thanks. That was what I thought this morning. I'm into it. Just leave me alone about it. I'm into Breaking Bad. That's what I thought when I woke up this morning. Whew, okay, I'm glad I snipped that one in the bud.
We'll move on to
okay. Next question.
If you could be any age for a week, what age would you be?
Ooh, any age for a week. You know, okay, I'm going to have to go to the past to relive it because the future's coming up. I'll do it again. So I would probably say, this is like a very wrong thing for me to say as a guy who's in recovery, but probably like age 17. Because it's before I got seriously addicted to anything and I was in high school. And life was a 24/7 party, not a care in the world. And it was, I can't deny, like a super fun time of just careless debauchery. And it was awesome. And I would like to go back and maybe do that again, which is the completely wrong thing a recovering heroin addict should say, but I'm just keeping it real. I'd go back to age 17 for a week.
I like it.
Yeah.
What is your favorite word?
Okay, this is going to sound like I'm trying to be cool or something, but it's fuck. Because it's diverse.
I wouldn't expect any other word from you, Andy.
Well, it really is like a super diverse word that can be used. Fuck you. We're going to go fuck. What the fuck is going on? It's diverse. It's cool. It has a great sound. It's an intensifier. You can hit it. It has profane connotations, which kind of makes it cool, which is a lame thing to say. Sounds like I'm a kid who just discovered it. But I like the word. I think it enriches conversation, and it's a good one. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the F word.
What did you do for your last birthday?
Let's see. I was in Los Angeles, so get ready for this pathetic story, but here we go. I was in LA. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I turned 30, and I was like, I am going to go to Disneyland, and I did.
By yourself?
Yeah. And I had
awesome.
I had an amazing time. All right. I got my picture of Space Mountain with a kid. Some strange kid. He and I rode Space Mountain together, and we got our picture. And it was a lovely, lovely day. And I went to Toontown and took my picture next to the whale. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was my last time of 20s, and I spent it at Disneyland. All by my onesies.
That memory will be forever held in your memory bank there.
As
sure.
opposed to where else, Holyfield?
I have no idea. I was trying to sound profound.
No. Next question.
What's your favorite thing to spend money on?
Probably food, to be honest with you. I find it easy to justify spending good money on a nice meal. I wouldn't say clothes. I want to buy new clothes. And then... yeah, probably food, I have to say, man. It's the easiest thing for me to like justify spending good money on, and I enjoy a good meal quite a lot. So a nice meal at a new restaurant, too, that makes it easier to justify. Like, I haven't tried this place. Of course,
I have to try it.
Of course, I have to spend this money.
So I can write a review on Yelp.
Yep. And I'm a poor guy. I don't write Yelp reviews. Come on now. What do I look like? Do you write Yelp reviews, you son of a bitch? You do, don't you, Holyfield? You write Yelp reviews.
I don't.
Oh, wow. That's pathetic. You got to get a life, dude. You can't. Do you really do that? Run around town writing Yelp reviews? Just experience it, man.
I don't write Yelp reviews.
Oh.
Andy's got me busting up over here. That's why I'm having a hard time talking over here. Well, that leads me into the next question. What's the strangest thing?
So, time out. The previous question led you in to the next question. No shit. Does it really, Holyfield? Number 20. No, time out. So, number 9. Question number 9 led you into question number 10.
No, it really did.
Wow. What? Okay. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Oh, I'm having a hard time keeping a straight face here.
All right.
What's the strangest thing you have ever eaten?
Oh, boy. The strangest thing
you have ever eaten.
Okay, that qualifies as food, not counting like stuff I ate when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think here. That does lead into the next question.
Isn't that crazy?
I shouldn't have been
I wasn't expecting you to say food as what you like to spend money on, but now it leads into the next
son
one.
Of a
What's
bitch.
the strangest
now
thing?
I feel bad about being harsh on you, man. What is the strangest thing I have ever eaten? I had damn it. I don't know if this is strange because it's common, but I had that escargot when I was a kid.
Fair enough.
And that's fucked up. I guess it's strange because it is so common. People have bought into this. And it's a garden critter. It's a pest.
Did you obviously, did you like
No,
it?
I didn't. I might be more open-minded about it now, but it was when I was a young man, a child, really. And I had escargot. And I would say that's strange. I come from a working-class family. All right, we don't eat that fancy French white cloth horse shit. All right, we have comfort home cooking. It was strange. It's a good answer. Get off my back. Next question.
Who would you most like to be stuck in an elevator with?
Oh, man. Let me think. Who would I most likely... My dad, probably. Not
Why?
Because
His
he would be
stories.
entertaining.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have any stories.
But the stories you could get from the stories he would share with you.
Well, here's why. My dad would see to it that elevator never broke again. My dad would go to the super and talk to him about their rotten elevator and yell at him. And get after him. That's what my dad does. He gets after people. He's like, we got to go get after the superintendent as soon as they break this. And giving him all kinds of hell. He would have given hell to whoever else we were stuck in the elevator with. And that elevator would never be broke again. And I also enjoy my dad's company quite a lot. I don't want to say a movie star or a celebrity because who knows if I like those people. I'm not awestruck by famous people anyway. And who knows if they're going to be a total bastard. It's a shot in the dark. I know I enjoy my dad's company. He's accidentally entertaining. And he would get that elevator fixed. I think that's a great answer.
Even if he didn't have any tools on him?
No. We would be stuck in there. He wouldn't fix it himself.
Okay.
But he would see to it.
Make sure that afterwards it did get fixed.
Yes. By his sheer ability to, quote, get after people. That's what he does. That's what he's best at. That elevator would get fixed and stay fixed.
If you had to be trapped in a TV show for a month, what TV show would you choose?
Oh, okay.
Like if you were in the TV show for a month.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think probably It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Because
I like that.
Yeah, they seem to be... It's fun. Every episode kind of seems to be self-contained and have its own story. So there's no continuation because I get bored very easily. And it's always rad. They're always up to something. Always doing something. It seems like a pretty fun gang. That's one of those shows where you'll watch it and you know they're dumb. They're not necessarily good people, but you kind of wish you were in their gang. Have you ever got that feeling from that show?
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm going to say that. I'd
They're
like to be
best friends.
Yeah, they're friends. It would be cool to be one of them for a week.
It's a great show too, by the way.
It is a great show. It's funny, man.
So we could talk about that show and there won't be any spoilers.
No, there won't. I don't think. And even if there were a spoiler, it's okay. It doesn't have these cliffhangers like Breaking Bad does. Yeah, we can talk about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
If you could bring any person back to life, who would it be?
Any person back to life, who would it be? I think it would be really funny to bring one of the founding fathers back to life just so they can see what's come of the U.S. You know, to see
This isn't what I envisioned.
No, to see a black guy as president.
Yeah.
And then it would be cool because like all of the constitutionalist people who always keep talking about like, oh, we got to stay true to the Constitution and this isn't what the founders wanted. And if we brought a founder back to life and he started saying a lot of horrible, like racist, sexist shit, people would be like, oh yeah, the founders, they had some really great ideas. But these guys were also kind of psychos who said a black person is like 3/4 of a human. And maybe we shouldn't be listening to these powdered wigged motherfuckers so much. So yeah, I'd bring back George Washington.
I like that answer. What's your dream vacation?
Oh, boy. Probably I want to go to Island Park, Idaho. I've been there before, but I know I love it. And go to Yellowstone and see the bison.
Wait. Island Park, Idaho?
Yes.
You can go anywhere in the world and you choose Idaho.
Yeah, motherfucker. It's right next to Yellowstone and West Yellowstone and Wyoming, a beautiful part of the... Listen, yeah, I would. I'd go to Yellowstone. We go there late summer. It's the breeding season for bison. They fight. They piss in the dust. They roll around in it. They get mounted. Elk.
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Yellowstone I choose. I love it. It's beautiful. I get to observe the wildlife. I get to pick the brains of the park rangers, educate myself.
Andy,
I get to talk with scat enthusiasts.
Right, this is your
scat
interview.
Enthusiasts are a real thing. There's people who walk around Yellowstone, and scat is a fancy Yellowstone slang for shit. And they journal the shit they see. They're like, this is coyote scat. This is bison scat. And they draw pictures. and descriptions, and this is their hobby. Scat enthusiasts. And they call it scat.
Oh, wow, Andy.
Okay, next question.
Anywhere in the world. And
where would you go? Let's turn it around.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Oh, okay.
Well, just because I've always wanted to smoke weed in Amsterdam, but now I can go to Denver and
I'm
do
drug free.
Well,
I appreciate nature. I appreciate God's handiwork. I'm not into debauchy pot.
Well, God made
like
weed.
You, like this dirtbag. You're all about the drugs and the sex. Big deal. I'm a man of the earth. All right, I'm in touch with my emotions. I can keep it real. I'm not trying to be cool. I got nothing to prove. Oh, Amsterdam, I'm fucking awesome. I'm Chris Holyfield. Go smoke weed and go to the horror houses. I would have thought you were fucking rad when I was 15, but I'm not impressed sitting here today, Holyfield. Yellowstone is where I go. Okay, no regrets. Appreciate the beauty, and I could go with nobody. Okay, next question, please.
I didn't say anything about whorehouses.
Well, that's why people go to Amsterdam.
If you had the option of adopting a baby fox or a baby koala. I can't even answer straight to you.
What, do I want a baby fox or a baby koala?
Oh, man, I'm going to edit this out.
No. Why do you got to edit that out? You're going to edit out my answer because I made you seem foolish for the whole Amsterdam thing.
Oh, you're making me bust.
Okay.
No, if you had the option of adopting a baby fox or a baby koala, which would you choose?
A fox. 2 reasons. Everybody chooses koala. I bet that you're going to have in here because they have thumbs and they can hug you. They need that reassurance. I want a fox because they're independent, but they're a dog, so they're going to give you love. They're American, by the way. Fox is a very American animal. They're savvy. They're smart. They've outwitted the authorities. People have tried to wipe out foxes forever, and they've outsmarted people. They still live. Yeah, sly like a fox. Says, I forgot your fucking name again. What's the producer's name?
John Farmer.
John Farmer. That's a memorable name. Farmer John. Holy dog shit. There we go. Farmer John. Yeah, Farmer John's trying to shoot him with his shotgun, but the fox perseveres and makes it. Did you ever see Fox and the Hound?
Of course, growing up as a young child.
The fox
Not recently.
reversed the indoctrination of the hound dog with love and brains and showed the hound dog that we can be friends. Koala would have no chance. Hound dog would have squirted.
Only you would I have expected such an in-depth answer from.
Hound dog would have scared koala up a tree. Hunter would have blown it away. Koala would be up on the wall, stuffed. No, I don't choose koala. I choose fox.
Fair enough.
Okay, next question.
What's your favorite breakfast cereal?
Ooh, I like Honey Bunches of Oats. It tastes good and it's healthy. It's not bad for you. There's others that taste better. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cap'n Crunch Berries, obviously. Fruity Pebbles, of course. But Honey Bunches of Oats is tasty. It's healthy. I don't feel bad about eating it. It's an adult cereal. Okay? I don't need any games on the back of the box. I could be present while I'm eating it. I don't have to solve some fucking crossword puzzle. I don't need games or mazes. I can enjoy the cereal and focus on it and be like, this tastes good and it's doing my body good. Okay, Honey Bunches of Oats. Honey Bunches of Oats.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Horror movie? H-O-R-E?
Horror. Yeah. Not horror. Like
scary. Okay.
Scary movie.
It's Poltergeist.
Are you excited for them to remake it?
They are? No, I'm not excited about it. They're remaking Poltergeist? You're shitting me. Are they really? You're fucking with me.
From what I've read.
No! Is nothing sacred? Why can't they leave it alone? They remade Footloose and butchered it. Some movies are classics. Let's enjoy them. Original ideas, Hollywood. Come on. Don't fuck with Poltergeist. Don't do it. Let it be. Who's making it? I'll write them.
I have no idea.
It's a great movie. I'll tell you, obviously the scene everybody chooses, every hack, okay, chooses the scene where she puts her hand on the TV, the poltergeist go through her hair, it shakes, and she gives this kind of ominous, they're here. That's a great scene. But I'll tell you my favorite scene. When they pull her out of Poltergeist world, out of the portal, and she's covered with goo, and she's laying on her mom, and then she looks up at her dad, and she goes, "Hi, Daddy." Oh, that was such a sweet, tender scene. It was great, man. It really kind of like, it made my heart go flipper flapper. After all of the horror, she's still a little girl that she doesn't have anything, awesome to say. She just has a little girl thing. I choose Poltergeist. And the tree that came alive and grabbed the kid and the clown, it was scary too. The spider poltergeist. And how about the little dwarf lady? A lot of good things about that movie. I think it's the best choice. And it wasn't over-the-top sensationalized, just slasher movie horseshit. It was a smart movie. Steven Spielberg produced it, too.
It's a good movie.
Yeah,
it's been a minute since
I know.
No, We're all out of questions. What shows do you have coming up?
Okay, I
that
just
you want to
did
talk about?
the Sunday show. Oh, is this going to be out before March 8th?
Yeah.
Okay, March 8th, I am hosting the Sunday night special. Bunch of comics on there. It's different.
Let's talk about the Sunday night shows that you guys
The last one I did was amazing. It was revolutionary. We had wrestling matches. We had sketches where a comic got into a fight with a robot off stage. I had a sketch with my friend BMO. It's not just stand-up. It's not just straightforward stand-up. We have tons of creative freedom that the club owner is getting us to write new and awesome and revolutionary things. We're going to change the game with these Sunday night shows. There's wrestling matches at these shows. Fucking wrestling. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm going to have fireworks, dancers, all of this stuff, if I can get a permit, that is, to get some kind of sparklers going inside the club. That's kind of a thing I'm going after.
And this is Wise Guys in West Valley.
Wise Guys West Valley, Sunday, March 8th. It's going to be stand-up, wrestling, dancing, fireworks. It's truly amazing. And best part, guess how much it costs?
Free. $0.
It's free! Just go to the Wise Guys Facebook page or my Facebook page or my Twitter at Andy A. Gold, and I pump the little digital coupon. You just copy that to your camera roll and then show it to the front desk girl, and she lets you in for nothing. You just have to buy one item. One drink.
Like a drink or a water bottle
bucks.
or something like that.
And last time was amazing. It was a truly fun show.
Now, these every Sunday, though.
These are every Sunday.
Not the one year, not the March 8th,
I don't host them every Sunday.
But every Sunday, Wise Guys has been doing this free show, right?
Yep, and it's really starting to gain traction. It's awesome. Christian Piper's done a few of them. He does an awesome job. Christian Piper's doing one tonight. I just came back from it that had like an Oscar theme because it's Oscar Sunday, which is hilarious. He's wearing a tuxedo. So we have all this freedom to be really inventive and different and try awesome things. And they've been so much fun. I'm being completely sincere.
I want to make it out to one of the Sunday nights.
March 8th.
March.
Come.
I will
bring some people, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing your podcast. It's the least you can do.
I'll come.
Promise?
John, maybe come.
John Farmer. You going to come March 8th? Wise Guys West Valley, right across from the Maverick Center, dude.
Fair enough.
Okay.
And I'll put all the links for your Facebook, obviously, on the on I would
appreciate it. Thank you. You got me excited with those questions.
You had a lot of fun with those, and I appreciate your answer.
Well, I took it seriously.
What else besides March 8th? Anything else right now, or not so much?
Nothing that I want to pump around town. That's the big thing.
And then obviously your
like
podcast that you have going on.
Big Wet Podcast. I'm having a ton of fun with it. Listen, it's a fun podcast.
It really is.
It's fun to listen to. Imagine what we just did here minus Chris Holyfield. Wouldn't you want to listen to that? Okay. And that's what the Big Wet Podcast is. So check it out. You can find it on iTunes or wherever. Occasionally my producer chimes in. He needs to shut the fuck up. I'm trying to get the reins on him, but he talks every once in a while.